Some shit happened. Stuff got a little ornery. Stuff got wild today. All right, stuff got wild. I was trying some new stuff. Things got out of hand in the lab. So just give me a second. Wait for my Instagram to fire up. Please fire up. There you go. All right. I got no sound. Do I have sound? I think I have sound. We're hoping. Looks like everything tells me I have sound. It was one of those days, folks. Listen, if you're just logging in, welcome to the party. My name's Nate. I'm your host, the crazy host, trying to figure out which screen's next because I did some stuff today. And I was trying to come in with a banger. And then what happened was welcome to the party. What happened was things got on like ornery right beforehand. So, like for instance, my sound, you can't see, you can see a little transition, but no sound, no reason for that not to work. All right. It's supposed to go bang, and then I'm supposed to start, and I'm supposed to do welcome. But if you're joining, the chaos is what you came for. So tonight, I've got a little something. If you notice the little placard, as I call it, I did a little AI. Don't hate on me. I would hire an artist. If I got enough stars, I'll definitely hire an artist. I'm not an artist, so AI is a tool for me that I use because I can't draw. I'm not very creative that way. So I just said, hey, AI, generate me the things that I want to, just a picture of creativity and what it means. And the reason I'm focusing on this tonight is because it's a little less harsh. I don't need to get spicy every night, but it will be a reference to what I've been working on with the other show. And I think it's important that we link the two together to talk about the reasons why I'm doing it. And I think that's important. So today I'm going to focus on creativity. I've been focusing on creativity with After Hours, other people's creativity. I'm loving it. I have to say, it's nice to talk to other people. It's nice to have other people's input. I still need to get better at interviewing and not talking over. And there's a little bit of a delay that causes some of that. And some of it's just me being obnoxiously ADHD and wanting to overstep people. So it's going to be interesting to watch as that evolves. But I think the first one I did pretty well. Second one I stepped on a little bit. But all that being said, looking at the videos, I'm telling you, you kind of get a little self-absorbed watching and listening to your cadence. It's why I'm working on my delivery. As I do more and more editing, I realize that it's easier to edit when I do it straight through without filler words and there's no misses in the clip. So as I said the other day, I'm going to do more pausing and deliberate delays to prevent that, as well as try to avoid the words that I repeat over and over and over. Moving forward, creativity is important to me because I believe that it's a privilege to be able to create. I know that depending on the status or depending on the pressures that are happening in my life, it's easier or not easier to create. When I'm in a mode where things are feeling good and I don't have to focus on internal things, maybe I'm stressed out because of projects, deadlines coming up. Maybe there's too much pressure on this component of the project that I don't believe in and it's causing strife and it's causing pain. Whatever that is, it's harder to kind of think outside the box when you're focused on whatever that pain point is. So it doesn't matter whether that pain point is in your head or whether that pain point's coming from something where you're starving somebody out. You're not giving them their basic necessities. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as I like to talk about it. This is not coming from a trained psychologist, but someone who's been on this planet probably longer than a lot of people. I mean, I'm 50 almost. So you can take it with a grain of salt, but I think there's some reasoning behind it. And that's why I'm delivering this message, because I believe in how I came up to this concept. And it kind of makes sense to me in answering why I do this. Because ultimately, if you ask me, why am I doing Smashing the Party? Oh, it's to change minds and to change hearts. And obviously to rubble rouse and piss people off and muckrake a little bit, get around, move my elbows around a little bit, say some big fancy words and say some swear words, all that shit, right? All that stuff. But ultimately, what I like to see is I love to see other people's creativity. If you've watched this episode or this series since the beginning, there's like a kryptonite for me when I watch somebody establish to themselves that they've achieved this goal in their life. For instance, if a kid says, I want to grow up to be a fireman, and then they interview him, and 20 years later, I will start bawling right when I heard about the fucking interview. And I'm just like, all right. It just melts me because I'm like, oh, you seriously had this dream all your life and then you got it? That has to be the most elation you could ever experience because you've been thinking about this all your life and there's been obstacles and you crawled and punched and kicked over them and you got it. And the feeling that must be awesome. And I don't know why I emote so much when I see this, but it's kind of a trick that you can play on me. I kid you not. It's like a reflex. It goes internal. I do understand what it is. And it comes from this, perhaps at some point in my life, I believed that I could do anything. And then somehow, and this wasn't from my parents or anything like that. It wasn't, I had a good upbringing past 5 years old. So again, this isn't a slight on how I was raised, but I think at some point I started to realize that there were things I couldn't do for whatever reason. And so somehow, whether it be internally or externally, I remember kind of just going, can't do that, can't. And there was a lot of can'ts going on. It could have been my own head, right? So I think when I see that somebody else was able to overcome that and achieve those things, it just blows me away. Now, the next question you want to know is, well, what were those things that little boy was thinking about? I don't know. I just remember that overarching. I was probably kind of meta thinking like I always was. I'm like, well, even at a young child, I was like, I don't know. Just meta thinking and annoying everyone, including myself. So I imagine I came to the conclusion that there were things that I couldn't do. And then I just kind of let that be the voice that kind of drove me for a long time. Even though people said you have all these talents and all these things, there was this voice that said, nope, nope, nope. And maybe I'm doing a therapy session right here on live. I don't know. But I think that is one of the things that when I see someone achieve it, it's great. Now, what the hell does that have to do with smashing the party? Nate, you're all over the place today. No, this is a core reason why I believe so much in fighting for the underdog across the board. I know what it feels like to be an underdog, first of all. I've talked in depth, maybe not as in deep as you want me to, about homelessness and my experience with it. Maybe I probably didn't because I know I didn't, but it was a horrible experience. But again, I don't want to paint that as my identity. It's something I went through, and there's people that are way, way, way worse than I was. As I said, I was privileged homeless. But I think about all these things, and I think about all these times in my life where I had that pressure, whatever it is. I used homelessness because that's when Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the things that I needed to eat, sleep, protection, those were gone. So it was less about, oh man, I'm depressed because of this project. It's like, you're worried about different things. I know for a fact I wasn't primed and ready to do a podcast or, maybe give a speech or even be a funny guy. I know there was I don't even think I was playing guitar at the time. I believe it was post me playing guitar. I think I did know how to play the guitar at the time. The timeline's all foggy, by the way. But I think back to those times. For me, my personal experience, again, this show, Nate's personal experience is going to be dropped in every time because I'm the fucking host. Okay, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get me. There's nobody else doing it. Nobody else has this fucking little cubby hole doing this crazy shit about this guy right here. So I know when when there's nothing to think of, when you have to worry about the next meal or you have to worry about shelter, maybe you're writing music because that is your solace. Perhaps that is when art can happen, but it's also very oppressive when you're trying to figure out the next thing. Now, I know I said two things at once, but it's well known that art takes pressure and people kind of go through trauma to expression. Everything's an expression, right? So art is pretty much anything, you could argue. Someone could look at everything as art. The camera I'm using, everything here is designed, and there's somebody that looks at it as art. Some art, there's everything we look at is there's a design, there's an implication, or there's a copy, or there's a rejuvenation of something. So, and so you're always creating, but it's hard to create when you don't have when you're having to struggle with whether it be internal struggle, and this is something like writer's block. Someone could be a prolific writer, prolific painter, then run into stigma where they're dealing with personal issues and their painting might go. And it's cliche, but it's true. We all know it. We all experience. It's not like this is foreign. It's not like we're like, oh yeah, man, everything is going shitty, and I'm just like feeling like top of the world and just cranking out. It is possible. For instance, athletics. For me, definitely 1,000,000% event, no matter what I was in. And people played against me would probably argue they knew this because I was a very physical, angry player, and I wasn't hurting people, but that was where I went to just let it all out. And that stopped about 3 years ago. So I understand like still being kind of going a little internal chaos, a little external chaos, and still performing. I believe one could argue I didn't perform well sometimes, but I was above average junior league, low end, never played college soccer player. And I think I was okay. I mean, I got picked up for a little bit until people realized that I didn't show up one time, 2 times, yada, yada. Anyway, say all that. Again, it's about me. What doesn't matter if I go off a little bit, I'm sharing myself. You're finding little tidbits out about Nate. I know that was one place where I could vent a little bit, no matter what my status in my brain was or what pressures I was going to. Soccer was a consistent place where I could vent. And so it really was an outlet for me, and it wasn't one that, I was making money on or doing things where it required my brain per se. It was just more of a physical outlet. Of course, it did require my brain. I'm not saying that soccer's awesome. I'm not talking shit on soccer player. I know baseball players love their baseball, but you can see a lot of baseball. I'm not gonna do it. Baseball players hate it. All right. The creativeness in soccer probably got lost. One could argue maybe I was more venting my anger, and maybe that's why I was such a physical player, and maybe that's why people didn't enjoy playing against me. But I don't know. I feel like people understood my game and they knew that I wasn't trying to hurt, but I would say sorry at the end and move on. So I do feel some guilt about a couple times where I did maybe hurt people accidentally. I wanted to go in hard, and I do think about that. I hear about this. I hear the sound still. Ugh. Ugh. All right. Anyway, so I used one example for myself that allows you to say, all right, well, there's one point where you can, no matter what your state is, you can vent. I'm going to argue that a lot of the things that we do require your brain to be focused and centered. And if you're going to be good at that thing, then chaos and things that are distracting you around you, whether they're part of the scene or maybe part of the environment, at some point, in order to elevate yourself, you have to have focus on it at some point. And I know you're not going to take a lesson of focus from a guy that claims to have ADHD, but focus is something I'm always fighting. So I'm thinking about focus probably more than people that aren't struggling with something that's like that has to do with their executive function with like focus. So you have to do things to compensate for it. I've had to do things to make sure that this whole thing becomes fluid. I'm always asking, did I come back to my points? Do I follow it? Yada, yada. So you create patterns. So I'm probably hypersensitive about it. Focus compared to other people because it's a deficit in some regards. So I believe that, I have gotten to the point where I understand I can only work on one thing at a time. People think they can multitask, but I argue that the reason I can be hyper-focused and maybe excel at something is because I do shut out everything, include food. So focus is something where I think if you're not getting your basics and you're not getting your requirements and your brain's all over the place, it's hard to focus. Now, what am I tying together? I believe strongly in the after hours model of bringing people on and showing creativity. Maybe people are well on their way. Maybe they're not well on their way. Maybe they're just getting started. But ultimately, the whole smashing the party motto is to get people to be able to thrive. And my opinion is they're thriving when you're creating and you're doing what it be opportunities. It doesn't mean painting or drawing or whatever. Maybe your art is soccer. It sounds hokey. I understand. But I'm telling you, if everyone could do what they wanted and everyone could achieve that dream where they're like, all right, I want to be this person. I'm thinking this when I'm 5. There's no roadblocks. Everyone supports me. Go, go, go. Of course, my competitors, if it's sports, yada, yada. But I mean, that is the environment we want to live in, right? No kids here. I'm just thinking, where would I want my kids? If I had little kids, how would I want them to grow up? And it would be something like that. So that's why I enjoy the after hours. I really believe that it's still lines up with the core here. Ultimately, if we can help homelessness and feed people and get people leveled up, remember my ultimate goal is to eradicate that lowest level, not kill, maim, meme, but just get rid of the bottom, make it so that those folks are leveled up. If everyone levels up, then that's good. Then we don't have that other level. So this also aligns with that, where I believe in creativity. And it's one of those things where it's an output for folks. Of course, people express through trauma. And I'm not saying like a lot of art, unfortunately, wouldn't be created if we didn't have trauma. But when people finally find the way to express it, whatever it is, it can be beautiful and awesome. It doesn't have to be trauma to be beautiful or whatever. And I'm not some art judge of anything. I'm a software dude that puts words together in sequence sometimes in right orders, and then people can debug it in code and in this show and decide for themselves whether they want to run with the program. That was a pretty good on the spot analogy for my tech people. You got to give it to me. Going back to the original topic of creativity, it's important to me to make sure that I continue to push folks that are creative in any level. And it aligns with the smashing the party vibe, which is that ultimately we want to have equality and we push for policies and we talk about things that are going to make it easier for people to be creative. If you've never had a moment where you're doing something or you made something or you did something yourself, everybody has it, even if it's a checklist of doing the things that you have listed out. And by the way, this is something that people that work in the household know all the time. So I'm not just saying it has to be some output for the world to see or any of that. It's not that. It's not saying, hey, you need to go out there and do whatever I'm doing or anything like that. It's whatever that thing is that you wanted to do it. I mean, this is it. Again, that comes from my philosophy too of like, I don't believe in afterlife here. As much as that may be morbid to you, it reinforces to me how important it is to do your shit now, as opposed to waiting for something else that might or might not come. Well, you could have been born on the wrong continent, believe in the wrong ending. And then what? You kind of did all this shit, or you held back, or you didn't think about this thing because maybe they told you that was wrong. And none of this, all those things that kind of were indoctrinated to think, we're all indoctrinated at some point. I believe when you finally figure out what you are and what you want to activate and what that thing is, it's when you live. And I'm telling you, somebody who's had jobs that paid there's days where I look back and I'm like, shit, maybe I should have just kept that job. Things would be different. But I remember the pain, the hate of life, and the absolute misery of just being upright with a pole up my ass all day long. It was awful. And so I don't miss that. And I enjoy working for myself and picking my clients as I see fit and working into my schedule. And those decisions allow me to do some things that allow me privilege. And I promise you, when I say this whole thing, it's because I have a lot of privilege to be able to create. I have the means and the motivation and also the technical ability to help myself get over some hurdles that make it harder for some people to do this. But this isn't the fucking only way that you create. Like, you can write a novel. You can do it. You don't even need technical stuff to do anything that you want. You create, nobody can see it. It can be your gem. One of the things, again, I'm not NA, I'm not sober like everyone thinks. I took a break from alcohol, big deal. But I know and understand some of the philosophies that they're pretty universal. And that's even across religion and 12-step programs. That's always a higher power. And so the thing that have come to the conclusion of is that, I am part of that higher power. And so we can do that. And if you want to take the Judeo-Christian viewpoint, is that we're all little creators. We're all made in the image of God. So why not create? And if you're not creating, what the hell? I mean, God was doing all that creating. He was creating, right? Whatever you want to say, that was creating. He was creating. He's the creator. If that's your philosophy, that's what you believe. That's what I was taught. That was the philosophy I was brought up in. But it still aligns with some kind of thing that's bigger than yourself. And in my opinion, I can take on that role and be creator of my own destiny. I can't control everything, right? So you can only get to this point of this thinking, like this meta thinking. If you're poor and you're sitting there worried about your next meal, all this shit is bullshit. It means nothing. You're like, Nate, you're wasting your fucking time. And I get that. I get that somebody that's starving right now is watching us like, oh yeah, dude. So, but the larger perspective that I'm trying to bring to the table is that Smashing the Party started out from anger against and a rage against the political system, the tribalness of the system. It also started from the premise of always making sure to take the side that's getting punched down on. That means power. Who has power? Take the other side. The other thing is we're doing all that because we want to see people live the fullest of their fucking life. The whole life, liberty, pursuit of happiness bullshit that we're taught exists in America that really has all these obstacles and barriers and bullshit to get to the end, right? So that is the motto. That's my manifesto. That's what After Hours is going to be, where it's going to be no politics, but still doing the thing that I want to do, which is watching people create. Maybe people are doing their dreams. Maybe they realize after an interview with me that they're like, you know what? I'm doing this because someone said the fuck I should do this. And I actually want to go and sing opera or whatever. I don't know. And I'm not suggesting by any means delusions of grandeur. I'm just suggesting that I think for me, there is a super high return of investment for me interviewing folks. And I see the long-term play of being able to help lift folks up along with pounding in the message that everybody can do whatever the fuck you want. Just figure out the time. Let's create a system where people can do what they want. I'm not talking about doing murderous things to people. Remember the golden rule. If you look at the symbol that my neighbor, Ned, awesome, made, Ned has some terms with me. I got to get to a certain income, and then Ned's going to come knocking for the payment. But Ned doesn't know this. But I believe the gold is the golden rule. Of course, there's the red, white, and blue because we're American. We do believe in the country. We're patriots. Okay? But I'd like to see everyone thrive. And I believe truly that the things that I talk about on Smashing the Party are ways to get to the means to the end to see more people that we're going to be bringing on After Hours to talk about what they do. Now, there was 2 interviews. Before I go hey, look out Oprah, watch out Shannon Sharpe, who, by the way, has Nightcap, but I documented that I had it first. I had hashtag Nightcap first. You can look at the hashtag. Shannon, sorry, just pay up or rename it, but I had them first, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's just the way it goes. It's like, it's a record. I know you can just shut me down, but it's true. I had it first. I'm sorry. It's good, too. I know. It's good. I thought of it first. Nightcap and After Hours, both of those shows, though, are going to be... Nightcap is going to evolve more for my politics. But again, if we have more people that are able to create, I think we're going to enjoy life more. And what's wrong with your neighbor being able to do what they want? You know, we argue that people are lazy sitting on their porch. So isn't that what we really want to do? We want to be able to do what we want, whether it be sit around and watch people or create things from watching people. By the way, people that watch people create a lot of things. Observing people do a lot of creative things. So when you start knocking on people sitting around doing nothing or watching other people or whatever you think what you might call lazy. There's nothing lazy about people watching and learning about life through observation. And I'm not just trying to make a sad story for sitting down doing nothing. I'm being serious. Like, I promise you, I love just going places and sitting there and looking, doing nothing, letting my brain just wander. And I feel like I can learn, and just even watching interactions. Maybe I look creepy. You know what? I don't know. It's in Lancaster, okay? If you see me around, just like spacing around, or I have my vision goggles, I'm not taking pictures. I'm probably just taking crazy thoughts about the things going on. Anyway, that got weird. I'll have to dig out of that one later in the post. In finality, today I wanted to touch on creativity. I wanted to make the connection between this, what I'm doing here, why I'm doing it, and hopefully it will lead to more people finding their activation, finding their motivation. They may be inspired by the folks that I have on After Hours. I've got somebody that's writing a book right now coming on this week. I had a comedian coming on, up and coming, working hard on that. I have artists, I have musical folks, I have bands, got a whole bunch of folks that are excited about it. And it's going to be nothing but learning about what the hell they do and how they find or they're trying to make a living doing what they're doing. And it's absolutely fun for me, and I look forward to it. And it's been super, super awesome to get the feedback. Now, all that being said, the quality of my stream has to go up. That's why today was a little bit nerve-wracking, because I made a whole bunch of changes, and I'm hoping I didn't do this whole podcast without sound, but I made a whole bunch of changes that I'm going to institute, and it'll allow me to get better viewing on platforms that do the vertical up and down, because I've been doing this half-ass shit where it's rotating weird and people want to hold their phone upright. I'm a landscape night, day in, day out. I was mad when Apple took the landscape away from the home screen. I'm old school landscape, but people like the upright. I continue to do landscape. Got some software, got some tricks up my sleeve to allow me to work on the multiple platforms. What does that mean to you? It means I'm really cognizant of the fact that my voice isn't synced up with my sound, that the quality needs to be higher if I want to even compete or even let the algorithms catch me. But you know what? I'm not letting it stop me. And that stopped me so many fucking times chasing perfection. So we're going in day out. We haven't missed a day. We haven't missed a minute. We've started on time every fucking time. And I will say that every time I watch the previous one, I cringe hearing my voice. I wish it was lower. I've actually thought about modulating it so that maybe it doesn't sound so high. And I don't know how natural this is, but I could pull it off for an hour. But I listen to my voice and I hear it, and I'm getting better, and things are more fluid, and I'm able to make it a better story time cadence. I believe it will go better and better and better and better as I get more and more into this, and as I continue to refine. And I will say, it is cringeworthy listening to your own voice. It's cringeworthy then having to hear other people know that they watch this cringeworthy episode. But I will tell you, it humbles you every single fucking time. And the joy that I get out of it is that I do appreciate, and in real time appreciate, even as I'm listening to my cringy voice, I appreciate kind of walking through my thoughts again. And that's something that I think I've learned to do, to ignore the voice, is to appreciate what I'm saying, and if I'm saying it in a way that is persuasive, or that it will stick, or will pull the listener in to wait for that ending. That's a trick that people do too. So you'll notice I'm going to get better and better, and hopefully I'll be better and better in storytelling. The gold standard, Paul Harvey, let's just admit it. I talk about Rush Limbaugh. He can just talk for hours, but Paul Harvey was the master. If you don't know, Google it, and you'll find out the rest of the story. That's all I got for today. I know I did that. I landed that one at the end. I'm going to wrap. That's a pretty good time to wrap. Make sure you check me out on all platforms. Not going to be on tomorrow. Not going to be on Saturday. Not going to be on Sunday. Or I will be on Saturday for After Hours, but we'll start up next week. I'm going to try to put some whiz bang. I'm actually doing some work to make money during the day, so I've got to take a little time to do that. But I do want to roll out a couple things next week. So my goal is to have some new things. What that will do is it'll be able to show you guys when I have this massive influx of YouTube followers, I'm going to have it so that things happen on my screen. And you know, I'm at 48 and maybe I'll get to 49 because I think I talked to somebody today. Maybe they followed me. But I'm adding more interactive things so that when things start to happen, people will be able to get the shout outs automatically on the screen, kind of like what you see on TikTok and everything else. But I want to have this working so that it actually makes it worthwhile to watch because you can actually interact with the page and you can talk and I can read things and you'll understand when you see it. And it's what all the kids are doing. I think you'll find it interesting. I'm going to add my own personal touch, but that's what I'm going to be rolling out. I know the folks that listen to this and have it on their headphones as they go to sleep, they're counting sheep, they're falling asleep, they're slowly falling asleep to my voice. Eventually, every night, you're going to fall asleep to this voice. You'll never miss a night, and you'll tell all your friends about it tomorrow when you wake up. Those people don't care about what it sounds like or looks like, but I promise that I will get better with the fillers for those folks. So we're going to up our game. We're going to continue up our game. I'm happy with where we've gotten in a month. I'm happy with the reach. And I will say it's been fantastic. The support, people appreciate it. Somebody said they think of me as a preacher and I should probably be a preacher at some point. Who knows? Who knows if that was my calling? Let's turn to Jeremiah 4:13 and I will tell you what my calling is. Hallelujah. I don't know if I can do it, but anyway. I do appreciate the feedback, even the funny stuff, even the mean stuff. You know, I do delete nasty comments, but even if you hate me, it does get engagement. So make sure you don't send me a personal message. Post that shit public. Let people know how you feel, so I can at least benefit from the algorithm. The last thing I'll say is you can give stars. Now, I'm not saying you have to. You notice I've been giving stars to myself. I've been testing out. I know it's weird. You're like, oh, I don't think I'm fooling anybody. It says Nate gave Nate stars. Okay. I got a couple messages like, oh, you're giving yourself stars. Yeah, I'm testing it. I know that everyone sees the comment that I gave myself stars. It's not like, so I'm okay to look stupid because I'm testing these things out. It is interesting because you can buy a ton of stars and then you can give me one or two and it's like a penny. So it's an interesting thing. Somebody gave me like 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever. Actually, they gave me 1,000 stars. So no, they gave me 10,000. I got 10. I must have got 10,000. I don't know, whatever see, I don't even know the math. I am a computer guy, but I can't do math in my head. It's like absolutely autistic in a way. I shouldn't have said autistic. I wanted to say retard, but I can't. Anyway, it's a way that you can do stars. You can give them to people. I don't know how I feel about giving stars through Facebook. I don't, but I do know that anything that I get to stars wise, I'll just say it out loud. Anything comes star wise, I'll just put right into the boosting the platform. So I'm not looking to make money on anything that I do in that regard. In fact, going forward, I'm probably going to make a pretty serious pledge once we get going. So I want to make this sustainable. I want to make sure that I can, if I want to do this full time, I can pay for itself. But that's it. And then I can do a lot of cool shit if we can grow this. So that's really kind of the core where we're going. I'm going to wrap. Thanks for checking in tonight. Make sure you check out my past interviews. If you want to see old spicy stuff, sign up on YouTube. Go follow it. Go like. Go subscribe. Or wait till my next live and subscribe live. And we'll be able to see your name pop up. And you'll be imprinted forever. And ever, forever, documented your support. Smashing the Party Nightcap. Bam. You're looking forward to it. I want to see you on Monday. You can hold your likes, hold your subscriptions. All you folks just waiting to subscribe, wait for the live show because you will see there will be interactive things that happen when you subscribe. All right. That's all I got. Thanks for checking in. Oh, I can't believe I didn't have my cool logo up the whole time. Oh, that's all right. All right, we'll be back on Monday, 10:30, but we will do an interview this weekend. Check it out. It's a young gentleman, wrote a book, real young, real go-getter, reached out to me for the interview. I'll save who he is. I'll do an announcement, roll that out. So it's going to be my first kind of like, I guess, PR interview I'm doing for somebody. Hey. So I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to the young gentleman coming on. Make sure you check that out Saturday night. Please like, share, and follow and comment. And let me know what you think. And if you appreciate anything I'm doing, you can certainly send me a nice message and send me some flowers or whatever you want to do. All right.